time-consuming technique for you. Like all techniques of this kind, it is based on programming your mind. In other words, you need to teach your mind how to relax quickly on your conscious signal. Follow these steps. Sit down comfortably in an armchair. I do not recommend a bed because you want to remain conscious, and people have a tendency to fall asleep when they lie down. So sit down and close your eyes. Calm your breath. Relax and breathe normally. Start counting down from 100 to 1. Count slowly, take a breath in, say the number in your mind, and slowly breathe out. Then breathe in again, and say another number. When you reach number 1, you will be in the alpha state. When you do this, say to yourself, in your mind, I've reached number 1. I'm now in alpha state. My mind is calm but awake, and my body is deeply relaxed, almost asleep. Spend a few minutes repeating this phrase in your mind. Then count up, from 1 to 5, and when you reach number 5, say to yourself, I've reached number 5, I'm fully awake now. Then, open your eyes. When you get lost, for example because of some thoughts or because of falling asleep, you need to start counting again. That's it, you've reached alpha state, and you've returned to the normal world. But you don't want to count down from 100 to 1 each time you need to find yourself in alpha state. That's why this simple exercise is turned into an entire training program. Practice the above exercise each day, 7 days a week. Each week, decrease the start number, for example, from 100 to 90, from 90 to 80 and so on. Look at the table below for references. You need to perform each start number 7 days in a row without interruption, without getting lost in the count and without falling asleep. With time and practice, you will reach number 10 as your start number. From that moment on, you will be able to enter the alpha state simply by counting down from 10 to 1. Then you will be ready for some serious clairvoyance. If any thoughts reach your mind during the countdown, let them be. Acknowledge them and return to counting. When you chase your thoughts, they tend to return. If you do not chase them, at some point they simply disappear. This exercise has one more purpose: it will help you relax. In the modern world, with people so stressed, it's another benefit from learning clairvoyance. After a few months, you will have a great tool to work with, not only for clairvoyance, but also for relaxation and many other things. To a mind that is still, the whole universe surrenders, as Lao Tzu used to say. Focusing on the third eye. Energy follows thoughts, as you should know already. And the third eye chakra requires fuel to operate. Once in the alpha state, you might want to charge up your third eye chakra a bit. You can do this in multiple ways, for example, through focus, or through visualization. First, through focus, simply focus on the area of your third eye for a minute or two. With time, you might require no more than a few seconds for the third eye to become charged. If you can't feel the third eye chakra, scratch the area between your eyebrows, and it should help you out. If you want, you can use visualization for the process of charge up. Simply visualize the energy flowing from your lower Tantian area, below your belly button, into the third eye, charging it with psychic life energies. Remember to ground yourself and direct the energy into the lower Tantian after each clairvoyance session. This is a safety rule you must obey. Psychic energy cleansing. Before we proceed further, I wish to teach you a bit about energy cleansing, since rarely do modern New Age books mention this subject. When you look around through clairvoyance, you open yourself, and the more open you are, the more negative energies you collect upon your own aura. This happens during psychic readings for others, as well, or during psychometry and other forms of psychic work. It is important to know how to cleanse yourself and keep your aura clean. The simplest way is to light a candle and use your hands to collect energies from your aura, and cast them into the flame. Just use your hands to grab the energies and cast them from your torso, hands, legs, back, and head. Energy follows thoughts, so if you keep an intention of collecting negative, dirty energies from your aura, the energies will be collected. Then cast them into the flame, and when you're done, cut the link between you and the flame. Allow the candle flame to burn out on its own. Or, you can light incense on the floor. Any type of natural powder incense will work, and if you have access to white sage, then it will work nicely, as well. Then stand above the incense and allow the smoke to cover you from the bottom to the tip of your head. Smoke generated by natural incense has cleansing capabilities, and it is often used in different forms of cleansing work, for example, cleansing magical rituals. Stand in the smoke for 5 minutes, and your aura should be cleansed. You can also use salt. Natural salt works best, but you can use kitchen salt. If you have a bath, then add a bit of salt to water, let's say 3 or 4 spoons. Then take a normal bath, and the salt will cleanse your aura. If you do not have a bath but a shower, you can rub salt into your entire body with the intention of energetic cleansing, and then wash the salt off with water. It will work in the same way. Salt is known for its cleansing capabilities. These are the simplest methods that can be used by everyone, as salt, candles, and natural incense are easily available, and they're easy to use. Practice such cleansing at least once a week, and after every form of spiritual work or practice. And if you offer psychic services, then cleanse yourself with smoke or candle and energy work between each customer. This will keep your aura clean and healthy. Summary. You have learned that there are 2 types of clairvoyance and that you're going to learn how to use the second type, the inner sight, which is enough for you to work with clairvoyance effectively. You've learned some safety rules, meditation techniques, and exercises that will help you open your third eye. You also have learned that through your practice, you might experience negative thoughts, bad memories from the past, negative beliefs, and such. These are core images. And you have learned how to work them out through affirmations and core images. Finally, you have learned how to protect yourself and how to create a sacred space in which you're going to practice clairvoyance at first. Now, with all this knowledge and with months of experience that you have in general psychic development, you can proceed to the book of practice, which will teach you practical exercises that will help you learn and develop clairvoyance. Chapter and Notes 1. Energetics. Your energy body, made of energy centers and channels, your spiritual body. 2. Radionic devices, devices and tools made of copper elements and crystals, used to manipulate spiritual energies. 3. Kundalini syndrome, energetic problem, caused by spiritual growth that is way too fast for spiritual practitioner. It causes emotional and mental imbalance, that leads to mental illness. 4. Psychic development simplified, p86. The book of practice. Alright, the worst is behind you. I know people don't like theory. From now on, theory will be kept to a minimum, and I will focus on practical aspects of clairvoyance. You will learn how to use the Psychonet method for personal self-growth and further improvement of clairvoyance, and you will learn about psychic readings, auras, chakra reading, and more. We will start with the Clairvoyant Laboratory, a technique that is quite useful for spiritual growth and psychic readings. The Clairvoyant Laboratory technique. As always, you should start with the basics. The Clairvoyant Laboratory technique is a basic method that will introduce you to more complex work, and in the future, it can be used for psychic readings if you want. Often, clairvoyant psychics say that in order to acquire information, they need to visit their private sacred space. It is an area within their mind, a place where they can pick up psychic data and interpret it. But rarely does any psychic explain what this sacred space is or how it works. I'm going to share my sacred space with you now, and reveal the secret. I close my eyes, take a few deep breaths, and relax. Then, I visualize myself standing in the center of a large library. This is my sacred space for psychic work. This mental sacred space is my clairvoyant laboratory. It has been visualized by me and programmed to exist within my mind. It's quite simple. It's a visualized area, or even a wall upon which pictures appear. It is all about visualization and letting go of your conscious control over the images. Within such visualized space within your mind, you can pick up psychic data in various ways through sounds, smells, images, and feelings. But mainly through images. Within my personal library, there are bookshelves, and I can pick up and open every single book. There are doors that I can open. There are pictures on the walls and desks to sit by. There are many objects I can interact with. When I need to know something, I let go of the control of my visualization. I see the library, and I follow my intuition. It guides me to the bookshelf in the right corner of the library. I pick up the book that I sense I should pick up. And I open it, and I look at it without any control over the images. But the images appear, and all I have to do is interpret them. Then, I have my psychic answer. This is the clairvoyant laboratory that I use for my psychic practice. And this is the famous sacred space all these psychics talk about. Another example of a psychic sacred space, a clairvoyant laboratory, comes from the teachings of Deborah Katz. For her own clairvoyance, she used to visualize a large black screen in front of her eyes, upon which pictures and messages could appear. You can try it, as well, whether it's a cinema screen, or a modern TV, or a theater scene, it's your choice. It will work. Why? Well, why does the clairvoyant laboratory work? Your subconscious mind has troubles with throwing random images on a blank screen. Often, it just cannot give you images if there isn't any anchor point to attach them to. This won't be a problem later on when your automatic clairvoyance kicks in, but at first, you will need a focal point, a hook, or an anchor point. A clairvoyant laboratory is such an anchor point. In other words, if psychic information you picked up does not have a hook, it might not be displayed to you in any form. In the case of clairvoyance, the hooks are images that you visualize. When they're visualized, and you have an intention to acquire specific information, then all you have to do is to let go of the illusion of control, and observe. If there are any impressions or messages coming through your psychic senses, they will hook themselves, and you will be able to perceive them consciously. It's exactly what I do when I pick up a random book in my visualized library. I visualize. I keep an intention, and then, I let go. If there is a message or information for me to pick up, I will pick it up, so I can pass it to my client, for example. The clairvoyant laboratory can be expanded into other forms of psychic perception. As I said, psychic information needs to have a hook to attach itself to it, and become a conscious thought that you can perceive. I'm clairvoyant, so I attach psychic impressions to images. How to create a clairvoyant laboratory? As you should know already, creating your clairvoyant laboratory is all about visualization. You need to visualize yourself a place in which you will be performing your psychic work. So, sit down for a while and close your eyes. Take a few deep breaths and relax. Enter an alpha state with your favorite method. See the darkness in front of your eyes. Think about what kind of space you want to create for yourself. Is it a library? Or maybe your home? A large Victorian mansion? Or maybe a scientific lab? Visualize a space that you enjoy. You need to like the place in which you work. It's a psychological thing. Fill the place with interactive objects. For example, add bookshelves, a desk, a plant, a few doors, a computer, a large LCD screen. The point is to have as many objects to interact with as possible. Think about what else you can add to your laboratory. Finally, when everything is in place, memorize the place. You're going to return here soon. That's it. You've prepared yourself your very own clairvoyant laboratory. And any time you want to return there, the place should be the same. Any differences carry a message, so pay attention to things that change within your clairvoyant laboratory. I've mentioned a large Victorian mansion. I've a word of advice here because some of you might want to create a haunted building for your psychic work. With such visualization, you add an intention for the building to be haunted, and you expect it to be haunted. Thus, you might accidentally attract spirits, ghosts, and even negative entities to your life. Please, don't do this. Spirit communication and dealing with ghosts are very advanced skills, and slightly dangerous things to do. I don't recommend it. So, don't intend for your sacred space to be haunted because you might get what you wish for when you're not ready for this. How to enter and leave your clairvoyant laboratory. In order to enter your clairvoyant laboratory, you need to take a few deep breaths and relax. Clear your mind and chill out. Enter the alpha state. Then, simply visualize the laboratory you've created. See the objects, the walls, all the doors, etc. In order to leave the laboratory, all you have to do is open your eyes and become conscious of your physical world once again. You might want to add grounding and centering skills to your work with the laboratory. As you can see, it's very simple. How to use your clairvoyant laboratory. In order to explain how to use your lab, we need an example situation. Let's assume that you're doing a psychic reading for someone. So a client, let's call him Joe, asks, "What is the source of my financial problems?" You need to enter your clairvoyant laboratory, and with this intention in your mind, answer the question. Relax, enter an alpha state of mind. Enter the lab by closing your eyes and visualizing yourself standing in your psychic space. Ask the question, what is the source of financial problems for Joe? Start hunting for information and messages. Relax and clear your mind. Notice if you're attracted to any object in your sacred space. Let go of control and follow your intuition. It will develop with time and practice of the basic psychic awakening exercises. You might be attracted to a room you have never seen before, and see a person there. Ask the person its name. Let's say a person's name is Emily. So ask your client if he knows someone called Emily. Maybe she's his ex-wife who took all his money during a divorce. He may be attached to this fact and he can't let it go, so he attracts more financial problems. Or you might be attracted to a book. Open it and see what's inside. Maybe there is a photo of a car. And maybe Joe has bought a new car, but in order to do so, he decided to live in debt. Or the book might be empty, which can be interpreted not as there's no answer to your question, Joe, but as you have no plans for the future, you're empty, you need to set yourself some goals. Interpretation can be tricky. When the answer is provided, you can leave your lab and wait for another question or end the reading. Don't forget to break the link with your client when you're done, and with all the objects you've read. I think this should give you the basic idea of how your clairvoyant laboratory works. It's very simple. You visualize the lab, you set the intention, and then you let go. All you have to do next is interpret what you perceive. Additional tips. You can continue to organize your sacred psychic space. For example, you might intend for things related to the past to appear on the right, and things related to the future to appear on the left, while the things related to the present will appear in the middle of your sight. To program your lab in such a way, all you have to do is keep that intention every time you practice in your lab. When you cannot see anything, there may be a few reasons for this. For example, you might need to interpret the empty message. Or it might mean that your intuition isn't developed enough and you need to spend more time with the basics before you can practice advanced stuff. The clairvoyant laboratory technique is a great way to improve your results in clairvoyance. And it can be used for psychic healing, when performing a diagnosis, in chakra reading, in psychic reading, and in psychometry practice. It's a useful tool to work with, but as with everything, it takes time to master. At first, you might have trouble with visualization and with following your intuition. But keep practicing, and with time, you will get better and better. Psychic abilities are no different from learning any other skill, from riding a bike to drawing and programming. Remember, this advanced technique might not work if you haven't finished your basic psychic development practices, such as energy work, mind reprogramming, etc. People tend to jump to advanced stuff right away, and then they're sad if nothing works for them. Please, don't do this. The basics are fascinating, and they can lead to really fast results. And the best part is when you're done with the basics, then the advanced things shall hold no secrets. The clairvoyant laboratory is a basic of clairvoyance, but an advanced technique on the general psychic development path. You can use this laboratory to work with your own intuition in every aspect of your life. For example, if you're thinking about a new business, you can enter the laboratory and ask a personal question regarding the new business, and follow the intuitive messages that appear through feelings and clairvoyant images. Businesses, relationships, friends, love, family, work. You can use the clairvoyant laboratory and your own intuition in every single area of your life. Later on, you will learn how to use the lab for spiritual journeys and spiritual development, as well. The clairvoyant laboratory technique will be expanded upon over the next pages. You will learn how to use this technique for spiritual journeys and for observing energies, entities, and people. I will guide you through some uses, and other ways to use the lab I will leave to you. You will figure out additional ways to use this technique, I'm sure of it. The Psychonet method is spiritual journey. Now that you have learned how to use the simple technique of a clairvoyant laboratory, we're going to use it and help you with your own spiritual growth. You might ask, why do I need to deal with spiritual growth? I just want to learn clairvoyance. Well, that's what we're going to do. First, spiritual growth is important for clairvoyant development. The more spiritual you are, the better your clairvoyance is. But don't worry, spirituality isn't about sitting in a temple for 24/7 or becoming a monk. It's about learning how to live a peaceful and happy life. For those interested in grounded spirituality, I recommend my other book, Living with Reiki. Anyway, the Psychonet method will teach you two things. First, it will allow you to identify more blockages and negative mind patterns that will help you improve your life. Secondly, through practice of this spiritual journey technique, you will open your third eye further and improve your intuition. Through observation of your inner self, your subconscious mind, you improve your clairvoyant vision, a form of vision that does not simply let you see spirits, but also allows you to receive psychic and spiritual messages. And the more you perceive this way, the more open your third eye gets, and the better your communication with intuitive mind is. And this, of course, will benefit your general psychic and clairvoyant growth. Now, a word of warning, the spiritual journey of the Psychonet method might be painful, as any form of true spiritual path is. You might see the dark side of your own soul, or you might recall bad memories from the past. Don't worry, these things won't harm you anymore. But recalling them, becoming aware of them, helps you realize your true nature and heal negative emotions. The more negative emotions you heal, fears, for example, the better your life becomes. Don't worry, be strong and practice. This technique is a mixture of core images work along with the rabbit's hole technique developed by Agnieszka Kupik. How to use the Psychonet method. You're going to use the clairvoyant laboratory technique for this spiritual journey. First, just sit down and relax. Close your eyes and enter the alpha state as always in case of clairvoyant laboratory. I'm going to teach you two versions of this method, one that includes only you and another one that include the support from your spirit guide. Basically, we all have at least one spirit guide at our side, and if we want, a spirit guide can help us in our spiritual growth. If you do believe in spirit guides, then ask the guide to help you with the Psychonet method. If you do not believe in spirit guides, just skip the ask the guide for help point. 1. Enter your clairvoyant laboratory, sit down, relax, enter the alpha state, and see the lab you've created. 2. Set an intention to heal some part of you. Ask yourself what kind of problems you have right now, and what the source of these problems is. Generally, every problem we have in our life has a source within us, a thought, a memory, a belief, or negative pattern. When the pattern is healed, the problems are gone. Or 1. Ask your spirit guide to help you with this spiritual journey. Ask the guide to show you the source of your current problems or the things that you should heal at the current moment of your life. 2. Now, when you've set the intention, let go of control and observe. Your mind will either within seconds or after a few minutes show you images, memories, interpretations of beliefs, past events, people, and such. Your task is to observe the images and do an emotional dialogue work. Observe the images and analyze your behavior, your reactions, your beliefs. Analyze if they're healthy and good for you or not. If you can see something negative, analyze it as well. See how you have benefited from a negative experience, and what kind of result it had for your life. Relax and let go of any negative emotions once they're analyzed. Forgive yourself and people you recall if necessary. When the specific image is worked out, move on, let go, and allow the mind to direct you further. 3. If you do work with a spirit guide, and you can communicate with him or her, ask for additional help and advice. Allow the guide to advise you on how to deal with a specific problem. 4. When you're done with the journey, return to the normal world by opening your eyes. The whole purpose of this spiritual journey is to travel through visions and learn from them. If you stumble upon something difficult, a bad memory, for example, relax and use another technique of healing emotions. Affirmations or core images are a few examples. That's it. You've learned the Psychonet method. Whenever you have problems or just time to grow, sit down and practice this technique of spiritual growth. It will help you resolve your life problems and difficulties. And more than that, through allowing yourself to observe and follow the visions and images, you develop your clairvoyance further. This will benefit you in the future, mainly in different forms of psychic readings. The technique itself is quite simple, so practice it whenever you can. Do angels have wings? It's time for more theoretical stuff. As you progress with clairvoyance practice, you will be experiencing more and more symbols, drawings, scenes, types of movement, animals, people, specific colors, and such. All these are psychic symbols. And it is important to remember that psychic symbols are subjective, not objective. It means that everyone perceives psychic information in a subjective, personal way. This is why I don't like books that describe the colors of auras in a general way. So before we progress to learning how to view auras and chakras, and how to perform psychic readings, you have to understand a thing or two about symbolism and the importance of your personal dictionary of psychic symbols. The question, do angels have wings, might sound silly, but when you're clairvoyant, the answer is a bit more complex. How do we perceive angels? Well, subjectively. The very first thing that you need to understand is that we perceive the energetic or spiritual world from our own perspective. It's like the I say tomato, you say tomato kind of thing. Whatever you see clairvoyantly will have a meaning to you and only you. You can't ask, I see this and this, what does it mean, of another psychic, because whatever you perceive is being channeled through your own perception filters. Perception filters are our beliefs, experiences, and knowledge, everything that is stored within our mind. The best way to describe a perception filter is to give an example of colors. In Europe, the color white is a color of purity and peace. It is often worn by brides. In Japan, it's the opposite, white is the color of death and grief. It's all about cultural interpretation. In the same way, it works for the psychic mind. For someone else, the color red might symbolize blood and aggression. For me, red symbolizes passionate strength and even strong love. And that's why you shouldn't trust books that say this and this color symbolizes this and this. It does, but only for the book's author. That's why you're going to create your own dictionary of psychic symbols soon. For now, let's get back to angels. Do they have wings or not? Well, yes they do. But what's more important is how we perceive them, rather than what they really look like. If we're talking about angels already, let's continue this example. To me, Archangel Raphael has short brown hair and wears jeans. When he comes to my room, he often carries leaves and pine needles with him. I can see these on the floor. Archangel Michael is tall with long hair and wears awesome metal armor. My own spirit guide has short black hair and wears something like a black leather jacket. And yet, all of this is subjective. It goes through my own perception filters. Quite often it's the case that different people perceive them in similar ways. It's interesting to look at modern psychic paintings of Raphael and see that other people perceive him in almost the same way I do. But this is just the case of spiritual beings. When an entity is conscious, it has a tendency to project its form to the minds of people, so we, as psychics, perceive these beings in a similar way. They want us to see them in this way and not another. If they want us to see wings, we will see wings. But even if they project their form, which they don't have, really, it's just a projection after all, they're spiritual beings, our perception can vary. A friend of mine has wings. He's an incarnated nature spirit. Some people perceive these wings as butterfly wings, like in all these Irish stories of good fairies. And I perceive these wings as strong searchlights in the mist directed towards the sky. I can see wings, but my perception is slightly different. Whenever you perceive something, for example an entity, in a manner different from someone else, don't worry really. The perception is subjective, and it can vary from person to person. And sometimes a couple of psychics can see the same thing. One time, I was sitting in a room with a friend, and I saw two energetic cats walk into the room. And I asked, what can you see here? She said, 2 cats. I said, they're very lean, aren't they? And my friend said, indeed. Such small experiences prove to me that clairvoyance is real. The Clairvoyance Symbols Dictionary. Anyway, spirit beings are one thing. Symbols, that's another thing. Symbols are often very, very subjective. I've mentioned colors already, but it's much wider than that. Through our lives we read many books, see many movies, see many symbols, and so on. All of this creates our experience. And when we stumble upon similar energies, meanings, or causes during our psychic practice, for example, during psychic readings, our mind translates the psychic impressions into images, symbols, familiar to us. That's why it's very important to interpret your clairvoyant vision during psychic readings, aura reading, and chakra reading by yourself. I mention this because there are many books available that explain the meanings of different things that can be seen within the aura or chakras, books explaining each chakra and their meanings, and books that contain explanations of psychic symbols. Should you read such books? Well, yes, because they give you additional knowledge of symbols, chakras, auras, and things that you can experience during your clairvoyant practice. But in the end, as you study such books, remember that you're solely responsible for the interpretation of the things you see. That is why during each reading it's mandatory to ask yourself, what does this mean to me? Your own interpretation matters. Your mind will give you explanations, and you will understand things you see with time and practice. And as you progress with your clairvoyant practice, you will receive more visions, more symbols. So it's a good idea to create your own dictionary of clairvoyant symbols. Therefore, prepare a notebook. And after each psychonaut method journey, after each visit in your clairvoyant laboratory, and after each aura, chakra, or psychic reading, write all new symbols and meanings in the notebook. With time, such a notebook will become a useful resource for your psychic work. Start writing the dictionary right now and include all the symbols and visions that you experience, then write all your feelings, emotions, and your own understanding of the things you have seen. At first you can work with your own visions/symbols. From time to time, return to previous entries and reread them. Analyze if some of the visions seem to be more understandable over time, or which interpretation seems to be most accurate. With time, you will learn how to interpret the symbol correctly. Later on, as you start working with other people, ask them to provide you with feedback after some time so you can check your interpretations of clairvoyant images as well. This way, you will improve your own psychic skills. Seeing auras. Now that you have learned more about symbols and ways that we perceive spiritual beings, we can learn more about seeing auras. Then, I will teach you how to perform a chakra reading, and finally, we will proceed to the practice of entire psychic readings. The aura is an energy field that emanates from the body of every living being, animals, plants, and humans, too. Some auras are stronger, while others are weaker. Some are bright, while others are dirty and require some psychic cleansing. But they're there, always. There are many ways to perceive an aura. Most tutorials teach how to perceive auras through physical clairvoyance, but I will teach you how to perceive an aura through your inner sight. For this practice, you won't be using the clairvoyant laboratory. Instead, you will be using just pure clairvoyance. You will sit and observe, just like that. You already know what inner sight is. It's an additional layer of perception generated by your mind that looks similar to dreams and visualization. And once your third eye is open, you can use the inner sight quite easily. So now you're going to practice it. What you need is a practice partner. It can be a plant, an animal, or a person. Choose one, because in all cases, the way you use the inner sight is exactly the same. Only the details vary. Plants have a simple aura, animals have more complex auras because they're more conscious. And people have very complex auras since we're sentient spiritual beings. But don't worry about this now. How to see auras through inner sight. Anyway, let's get to the tutorial itself. 1. Sit down and relax. You might want to close your eyes if you're a beginner. But the more you practice, the easier it will be to focus with your eyes open. For now, close them and enter the alpha state. 2. Look at your target if your eyes are open, or imagine the target, visualize it. If your eyes are closed, the target can be a plant, an animal, or a person. All you have to do is create a focal point. Looking at someone, or visualizing him or her, is such a focal point, the hook that I already have mentioned. 3. With your focal point, the hook, in your mind, visualize the aura, a bright energy field around the person. Simply visualize it, and then, after a few seconds, let go. 4. Once you let go, just observe. Allow your inner sight to show you the true aura. If your third eye is open enough, you will notice the change in your inner sight perception. The size of the aura might change, and the colors will be different, and you might start noticing additional elements of the aura. 5. So, just observe, pay attention, but do not struggle. Allow yourself to see and not to create. 6. When you're done with observation, relax, stop looking, and cut the energy cord, link, that you created. That's it. That's how you perceive auras of objects and people and animals through your inner sight. First, you create the focal point, the hook, by looking at something or visualizing the target. Then, you visualize the aura of the target, and then you let go. The inner sight, if it's developed nicely, will pick up, and you will be able to see the aura. If you can't see anything, keep practicing and remember, do not struggle and do not force yourself to see. Once you're relaxed and once you let go for real, you will see. If you wish, you can ask control questions. Such questions are another way of creating a point of focus, a hook, to which your psychic intuition will assign visual information. For example, when you observe the aura, ask yourself with an intention of seeing and receiving the answer, how big is the aura? What color dominates in this particular aura? Is there anything extraordinary within this aura? Are there any specific layers within the aura? You can ask any question you want, and then simply wait for your intuition to give you answers. The more questions you ask, the more answers you receive, and the better your clairvoyance becomes. Now that you know how to see the aura, you can grab some books that explain different layers of auras and different things that you can see within the aura. For example, you can see darker pieces of the aura where the energy field is damaged, or where some nasty energy attached itself, and it requires cleansing. Or you might see scratches on the aura, or additional layers and such. All of this is so complex that it would require a few more books about the subject. But even if you can't get the books, don't worry, I'm here to teach you something, right? But I won't be teaching you about aura layers or different things that you can see within an aura. I already taught you this. The simplicity of learning is great because the only thing you really need is your own intuition. Whenever you see something upon the aura, or within chakras, as you will learn later on, ask yourself what it means, what this new thing that you see means. Through your intuition, the mind will give you the answer, and you will learn something new. It's that simple. Once you can see, use your own intuition to learn what the things you see means. It's how every single psychic in the world learns the meanings of auras. Now you can learn about something that lies below the aura chakras. The chakra reading. The chakras are energy centers within our body. There are 7 primary chakras that are relevant to chakra reading. And a chakra reading is a psychic analysis of all 7 chakras that helps understand blockages, so a person can quickly learn what areas of life should be fixed first before proceeding with spiritual growth further. As I said, there are 7 main chakras. Here they are. 1. The root chakra, Muladhara. This is the first chakra, also known as the base. It is located at the base of the spine. It has only one opening, pointing downwards. This chakra is related to the spinal column and kidneys, and governs the adrenal glands. It's the rooted, physical part of our being, governing survival and primal instincts. It's how we respond to our own body and the nature around us. In simple words, it says, eat, don't allow to be eaten. 2. The sexual chakra, Swadhisthana. Known also as the navel or the sacral chakra, located just below the navel. This is the first chakra that opens both front and back. It's related to the reproductive system, and the glands affected are the gonads. Yes, this chakra is related to sexuality, and additionally to relationships with others. It's not just about sex, but more about the ability to form intimate bonds, not necessarily sexual. You can describe it as I want to be with this person. 3. The personality chakra, Manipura. The solar plexus chakra, located below the breastbone and slightly to the left. It opens front and back and controls the stomach, liver, gallbladder, and nervous system. It's about willpower, determination, and personality. It's about your destiny and the way you fit into the world. You can describe it as this is my partner, this is my home. 4. The heart chakra, Anahata. This chakra is located in proximity to the heart, and it's responsible for emotions. It opens front and back, and it's responsible for bringing emotions to your life. It primarily controls your heart, lungs, and blood. The best way to describe this chakra is to phrase it as I like that female, she means something to me, I feel something towards her. This chakra is also responsible for improving your control over psychic abilities. Pay attention to it. 5. The expressive chakra, Visuddha. The chakra of communication controls your entire throat and communication capabilities. I'm telling you, I want to marry this girl with these words. We describe this chakra, as it's all about communicating our will towards the world around us. You can have your will to shape your life, but if you have problems with the 5th chakra, you won't be able to turn your will into action. 6. The third eye, knowledge chakra. Anja, the famous third eye. This chakra governs out intuition and steers our psychic abilities. It also controls our brain and everything that we can find within. This chakra is responsible for showing us the world as it really is, and it's also an important energy center when it comes to inner growth, as it allows us not only to see things around us, but also things within us. 7. The crown chakra, Sahasrara. This chakra is often